I don't know if the term casual competitor exists. I don't know if that's a term that's been coined yet, and if it hasn't, then I'm gonna take it. Because I grew up playing a bunch of competitive games. I've always been interested in, the art of competition. I've been interested in going to tournaments and watching tournaments and all that stuff. But until very recently, I decided, I think that's enough. I've decided to just quit competitive games altogether, and surprisingly enough, I think it's one of the better decisions I've made, and I'm gonna tell you guys why. But back in the day, before I got into competitive Super Smash Bros., there was this one card game called Cardfight Vanguard, right? It's kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh knockoff, because it's an anime that's just designed to sell you the cards. That's basically what it is. And I was kind of good at Cardfight Vanguard. I was one of the best players in Puerto Rico for a time, and being good at a children's card game was really feeding my ego, to be honest. But eventually you move on from things, and I decided to get into Super Smash Bros. Competitively. Like, if you guys don't know, when I started streaming back on Twitch, I started off by playing Super Smash Bros., right? And I was hosting tournaments, and I was having fun playing and trying to be the best, right? One of my first goals when I started playing Super Smash Bros. Was I want to be the best in my friend group. And I did that, right? Pretty easy. But then I was like, okay, I want to be the best in terms of like going to actual tournaments and winning them. So I dedicated a huge chunk of my life to grinding and training and practicing combos and, really dedicating a large part of my life to this game. And, well, it didn't go anywhere. To be fair, I was good at the game, but I was nowhere near like the level of the best players in the world. I think everyone that tries to get into competitive gaming has that vision of wanting to be the best in the world, or at least within the ranks of the 1%, because that gives you a promise of fame and fortune and riches and, being recognized as one of the best players. But at a certain point, I realized that the amount of time and effort I was putting into the game was not translating to results. No matter how hard I trained, no matter how many hours I put in, I just wasn't getting anywhere. I was getting better slowly, but compared to the people that I used to see in tournaments back in the day, I was like, these guys are on a god level. They're on a different level entirely. I won't be able to reach there, and if I do, it's because it'll be years and years of effort and wanting to try and get better. And I remember sitting down and asking myself, do I really want to spend 2 to 3 years grinding out a game and seeing if that actually takes me anywhere? I really wanted that sense of accomplishment. I really wanted to say that I was actually good at something, but I don't think it was worth it. I really don't think it was worth it. So at that point, I decided to just forget about Super Smash Bros., just move on to something else. And that's when I picked up Apex Legends. And then this one's a little tricky because I was playing competitively in Apex Legends. I was grinding out ranked and I was trying to get better. I was trying to find a good team, but I was also streaming it. I was also doing it with the intention of growing as a streamer. So now my goal was basically split into two. I remember saying that I wanted to be a big streamer and I wanted to use Apex Legends to convey that, because I saw that a lot of people found that success by being really good at the game. The same thing happens with Smash Bros. But that was another flop, because at that point I realized that being at the 1%, you had to play the game, duh. You had to practice and put the time in, but you also needed a sense of natural talent. Something that you don't really see from the outside, and it's not until you're in the inner circle that you realize, clearly these guys have something that they're born with that I just don't have. Because work and effort will only take you so far, and it'll put you very high, I'm not saying that you're not gonna get anywhere. They'll put you really high, but to get that extra push to the point that really propels you into the pantheon of the gods, the people who are immortalized as the best players at X, that takes natural talent. That's something you're born with. And I know that I'm a positively average person, right? I'm just a regular guy. I'm not born with god-level skills in gaming. I really don't have that. And when I found that out, I realized two things. I realized I don't really like Apex Legends to begin with. I'm already pretty burned out on the game. I don't really enjoy playing this game anymore. And two, I'm doing the same thing I was doing with Smash Bros. I was putting in a lot of effort and time trying to get somewhere and not seeing any results. And that's when I really started to weigh my options. I was like, do I really want to continue grinding and playing these games and going through the ranked system and going to tournaments and trying to be good? Or is there something that can give me a sense of achievement, a sense of satisfaction outside of that can sort of like replace competitive gaming for me? And I realized that going through my experiences in streaming and content creating, that I actually really like doing that instead. Maybe I just don't want to be a competitive gamer, but I still want to feed that competitive nature of mine. And I think content creating is the thing that's feeding that. And what's so good about this is that the moment I stopped playing competitive games and I started directing that energy into YouTube, then that's when things started going for the better. Because if you want to find success, if you want to win tournaments and cash prizes, you have to be so ridiculously good at something to be able to succeed in that. And I know I didn't have that magic, but I know that if I try hard on YouTube, I know I can succeed there. The barrier for success in YouTube is a lot lower. I don't need to have natural talent, and I don't have to be born with some special gene in my system that makes me the best Smash player in the world. So making that shift and directing that competitive nature into something that actually gives me success in the long run is honestly like the best thing I've ever done. Because now I'm grinding YouTube, I'm grinding to make awesome entertaining videos and stuff, but at least I'm getting something out of it, right? I get ad revenue off of these videos, so it's not like all my effort and time is going to waste. I can actually do this and get something out of it and, I don't know, go buy some t-shirts or something with the money I make here, so... And then, of course, hindsight is 2020. I realized that I don't really like the aspect of competing anyways. Like, I do love the competition. I love being in the moment and fighting. But everything else that happens besides that, grinding out the same combo over and over again, I realized I don't really like that. I like the result, you know? Don't get me wrong. I love the result. I love the idea of, like, landing the combo. Just like how speedrunners love getting personal bests. But all the hours that you put into training and perfecting that, I'm just like... Bro, I don't have time for that. I don't know if it's just me getting older or something and being aware of how valuable time is, but that sucks, man. And when going to Smash tournaments, I remember that I went to a convention not too long ago, right? I think it was in June, and I wanted to compete in the tournament, so I signed up. It was free entry. I remember why I hate Smash tournaments. It's just, you go in, and there's always a stereotype of the Smash player. I don't feel like I have to go into detail of what a Smash player smells like, but there's that stereotype. And then when it comes to tournament bracket, it really just revolves around you playing your matches, and then just sitting around and doing nothing. You win your rounds, and then you have to wait for everybody else to get all their matches done to then go on with the next rounds. And in that space, of course, if you have friends, you can hang out and chill with them. But the thing about the Smash community is that it's overwhelmingly dominated by kids. And I have nothing in common with kids, nor do I want to interact with them. A lot of the times when I was going to Smash tournaments, I kind of just played my games and just sat there. And at that one tournament I went to last June, I realized, bro, competing sucks. Like this, all of this for what? For a chance of recognition and fame? And no, I have way better odds at succeeding when it comes to like something like content creating, which is something I genuinely enjoy all the process of. Meanwhile, competitive gaming, at the end of the day, it's like you don't really get anything out of it. You know, unless you're in the top echelon, unless you're in the 1%, even in the 1%, you're still competing versus a lot of people that are trying to overtake you constantly. The odds are heavily skewed against you. So that's basically why I quit competitive gaming, but that doesn't mean I'm not a competitive person. I've just channeled that competitive energy into something else, something more tangible, and I've been grinding out YouTube ever since, and you know, I've actually been enjoying it. It's a competitive environment, yeah, because you always have to be adapting and creating new stuff and just trying to figure out what's working and what's not, but it's enjoyable, and I get something out of it at least, you know? And I know that I can connect with a lot more people making videos versus connecting with people at a Smash tournament, which is people that I don't really have anything in common with, you know? So yeah, that's basically what I want to talk about today. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.